Once you build a good base of racing strength, you're probably thinking, then what? What do you need to do with your training then to be able to keep progressing? And so the answer to that is you can use some more advanced strength training strategies, which will bolt on to what you're currently doing. So in this video, I'm going to go through those 3 strategies with you, explain how you can implement them so you can get more out of your strength training, and hopefully see some faster progress. Probably not quite as fast as what you saw when you first started training, but be able to get things sped up a little bit for you. So the first thing that comes to mind is periodized training, okay? And that means using, say, 4-week blocks of training. So when we're training, we want to make sure that we're adjusting exercises, sets, and reps fairly regularly throughout the year. And the reason that we do this is your body adapts to different exercises. So if you always do 3 sets of 10 back squat every time you go to the gym, what you'll find is for the first few sessions, you'll progress really well. Once you get past those first few sessions, you probably won't progress as much, if at all, depending on how long you go for. So what we want to do is maximize that progress we get at the start of a new program. So how do you do that? You just change exercises, sets, and reps every 4 weeks. It's quite simple. So what that would look like is you might do your 4 sets of 10 back squat for 4 weeks. And then the next 4-week block, after you've done that for 4 weeks, then you might go to 6 sets of 3 front squats, okay, and do something different. And then you might go for the next block, you might go back to the 4 sets of 10 back squat, or you might do something different. You might do some cyclist squats for 5 sets of 5. So the whole goal is we just don't want to be sticking with the same sets, reps, and movements for all year long, because you're going to stagnate very easily as your body adapts to the training. Second thing is training tempo that you can adjust. So when you're performing a movement, there's a speed that's associated with that movement. So what I mean by that, like if I go into a back squat, okay, usually what happens is gravity pulls me down, and then I bounce back up a little bit. I use my legs on the way up, get to the top, and then gravity pulls me back down again. Now, the problem with that is we're only actually strength training for part of that movement. Because gravity's pulling me down, my muscles aren't being trained on the way down, they're only being trained on the way up in the back squat. So what we can do as a more advanced strategy is adjust the tempo of the movement to put your muscles under load for longer periods of time. So how do you do that? Let's say like for a back squat, what you can do is use a 3-second eccentric. What this means is instead of just letting gravity pull you down, you control the weight down for 3 seconds. So instead of just moving like this and gravity pulling you down, you count 1, 2, 3, and then come back up. 1, 2, 3, and then come back up. So what this is going to do is just increase the load of the movement on your body. Instead of letting gravity do the work, our muscles are doing the work, which gets you a lot stronger. But again, it just takes a bit more thinking. So if you're new to weight training and you're still thinking about keeping your chest up and pushing your hips back and keeping your knees in the right spot and all that stuff, I would start with this, make it simple for yourself. Once you've got all that nailed and you don't even think about it when you go and train, then you can start to apply some tempo work. Third thing is using what's called linear progression. And you can probably use this at any level, but what linear progression means is we're adding a little bit of weight to the exercise for each session. So if I'm doing, say, 4 sets of 10 back squats, and let's say you start with 60 kilos, you might do 60 kilos for the first session, 62.5 kilos the next week, 65 kilos the week after, 67.5 kilos after that. So we're just increasing by 2.5 kilos for each session. The reason that works well, especially if you're more advanced, but even if you're a beginner as well, is because we don't want to be constantly taxing your body at failure. If we're always going to failure, we're always going to be very sore, we're always going to be very fatigued. It's going to affect your riding on the weekend, it's going to affect all your other training sessions. What we want to do is make sure we can get the benefits of the training and get stronger without all the soreness and extreme levels of fatigue. So that's the best way to be able to do that. So you could start like a 4-week block, and at the start with say 75 to 80% of the load that you probably could do for those sets and reps, and stick with that for session 1. Then when you go to session 2, increase by 2.5, next session 2.5, or you can even increase up to 5 kilos each session. But the whole goal is we're just not overloading your system by always going to failure, and we're not underloading your system by always doing the same weights every session and never seeing any progress at all. So it's kind of like the sweet spot. So there are the 3 strategies that you can use to help improve your strength training. If you'd like some help with this stuff, okay, and you want to be able to know how you can improve your training and dial things in for your riding and racing, you can apply for my Faster Laps program below. Otherwise, hopefully you enjoyed this video.